Welcome to Roots and Roofs, where we explore the intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship in the real estate world. I am your host, Mackenzie Shelton. Join us as we dive into the unique journey of balancing family life with owning a thriving real estate business. Each episode, we will uncover inspiring stories, practical tips, mindset conversations, and expert insights from others who are carving their paths in the real estate industry. Whether you are a seasoned realtor, a prospective buyer, or simply curious about the dynamics of managing both home and career, Roots and Roofs is your go-to podcast for heartfelt discussions and invaluable advice. Tune in and discover how these incredible women are building deep roots from the ground up while nurturing their families under the same roof. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Roots and Roofs. I have a very exciting guest with me today. Jennie Wolek is the owner of the Wolek Group in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I have followed Jennie on social media for several years, have actually gotten a lot of inspiration from her. And I am just so excited that she was willing to be a guest on the podcast, because I know that you're going to have a ton of wisdom to impart to everybody. So Jennie, thank you so much. Do you mind just kind of taking a minute to introduce yourself to everybody?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Mackenzie. I appreciate you so much, and what an honor to be here. And thank you for always follow along and being a fan and a friend on my socials, because you always are engaging, and I just take that as inspiration. So thank you for doing that. I'm Jennie Wolek, and I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I just celebrated my 25th year in real estate, which is crazy to me that so much time has passed. And gosh, isn't it a lot of fun? You get to learn a lot and grow a lot, and also know that there's so many opportunities inside of this world of real estate. So I've really enjoyed going from the dogs. One
It's
second.
okay.
You can
No
cut and
worries.
edit if needed.
I will.
My daughter is here for spring break, and she's getting picked up by grandma. So, okay. Okay, love you. Bye. Okay. Um, I've really enjoyed in this business going from the early days as a solo agent, and, finding success over time in that arena, and then growing into the necessity of needing a team by, also being a mom inside of real estate, that I knew that if I didn't get some help, then I would not make it. So then growing a team and failing through teams, and adding more people, and learning leverage and learning leadership. I mean, it's just been a lot of stuff. Nowadays, what I actually have the most passion for is teaching and sharing and helping other agents, so that they don't take all the time that I took figuring some of this stuff out. And so I really love sharing with agents lessons and tips that I've learned along the way. So,
Well, let's kind of get into some of those lessons and tips and things that you've learned.
yeah.
So, let's just start with like a really big question. What do you think agents are uh, maybe missing or not learning in today's market in 2026 that they really should be focusing on?
Ooh, there's so many things, and I like getting really, really granular. And I think that what I would say for today's agent, today's market, is slowing down and asking more and better questions. I believe that if we got really curious about all of the wants, the needs, the dreams, the goals of our clients, then we would be better set up to actually help them, rather than just telling them what to do. Then they get frustrated because that wasn't the right path, or that wasn't the right price, and they didn't have buy-in on it. And so I think the number one thing agents could do is slow down, ask better and more questions, to have total clarity around how they then can give advice to the people.
Oh, that's so good and so true. So I have a team. Any of my listeners know at this point that I have a team, and I was actually just having this conversation yesterday with an agent on my team who went on a listing appointment
for a property that it does need some work, right? It's not in great condition, but it's in a neighborhood where the expectation is, you have this, big, beautiful, gorgeous house. And she's like, oh, this house just doesn't fit in with the people that would potentially be looking in this neighborhood, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, well, how do you know that? Right? I said, if you price it correctly, condition doesn't matter, right? There's gonna be somebody that comes along that would love to live in that neighborhood, but maybe the price doesn't match what they, need, and they are willing to put in the sweat equity, right? So it's one of those things where she was trying to push so hard to get these people to do all this work that they were fine with lowering the price to match the condition of the property.
Right.
And at the end of the day, if we're not listening to what people want, then they don't end up hiring us, or the process doesn't go well, right? So yeah,
So
absolutely.
true. So true. And that is the perfect example. Like, who are we to judge? Right? Unless we've asked so many great questions to discover that the sellers did not want to take below a certain price. They did need to make those updates or adjustments. Like, but who are we to judge? And so I think so many agents come in with the I know best mentality because I've been doing this or I learned this lesson. And if we would just stop, I mean, that's where I win and our team wins, over clients and listings and potential buyers all the time is because we have a true face-to-face, sit down consultation. It's called a consultation for a reason. It's really getting to understand all of the things that are going on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like we more need to sit down with people like a functional medicine doctor would or something like that, right? Like
Yeah.
let let's get to the root of what's really bringing you and me together here for me to help you the best. So, yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I love that. So talk to me a little bit about motherhood, because I know your daughter is grown now. Is she in her first year in college?
She is, yeah. So I have one daughter and a husband and two Yorkies, and that's our family unit. And so Mia was actually in my belly. I was already in real estate, but I moved over to Keller Williams back in 2007. And she has grown up inside of real estate. So, like, I remember in the baby carrier going to closings, her attending inspections with me all throughout the years. And now she is in college in Savannah, Georgia, really far away from Tulsa. So it's been I'm in the new empty nest era, which becomes this whole new world for us moms that of course, we still love our kiddos, and it just evolves over time into new appreciation for them in adulthood. So,
It's so true. So what do you think would be some of your advice if you could reflect back on, being a younger mom? Like what's some advice that you would give a mom who's either just getting into real estate or trying to figure out how to do real estate with small children?
oh gosh, I mean, of course, now there's so much more technology and ways to do this real estate business, like with social media and your online presence and your email and communication that way through technology that I didn't even have back then. So, I mean, I would definitely tap into all of those resources for ways to connect with people when maybe you've got a napping little person. Um, Early days of real estate, I learned, and I am just so blessed that I was in a training class that taught me about dreaming big and getting into action, but also the benefit of counterbalance at the same time. So for me, it became very structured in my day when Mia was a little one and I was, the mommy's day out. If you've ever, now I think hopefully they're called parents' day out, but back in the day, the non-PC version was only moms were staying home with their kids, right? So I would take her. Drop her off. I would work between 9 and 2 and then get her and have her the rest of the day. And then, even whenever they start getting into school. So I just got really, really good at being so effective and efficient inside of that time block window. And that as a mom is going to always be important. Even later on, as she got older, I still chose to pick her up from school. And so it just was a time block on my calendar that said, pick up Mia/family time. And at least an hour of my afternoon was with her. Yes, I would hop back on, check my emails, follow up with things, wrap up any loose ends at the end of the day, but then having stop working time a stop working time. Now, I know it's hard sometimes. You're in the middle of negotiations, but I remember specifically being at home cooking dinner with the family, and a client called me in, say, the 7 o'clock time period. And of course, I'm stressed. I'm following a recipe or doing the things. And then also, I'm dealing with this client that I feel like I should respond to. And I just took a deep breath and I listened to the message. I gathered it was not urgent. I sent a text back and I said, "Hey, I got your message. Just letting you know, I got your message. I'm with the family having dinner. I'll get back with you first thing in the morning." And they were like, "Okay, no problem." And that was a defining moment for me because I realized they don't really care. I just had trained them to think it was okay to call me at all hours of the day. And if you're a mom or you're in sales of any kind, please don't say that you are always available. You are not always available, and you don't want to always be available. I learned this lesson honestly from my husband. He's an attorney. And out of all of our now 20 plus years together, I have seen him take a phone call for work after 5 p.m., maybe just a handful of times in all these years. So if we want to have this professional persona that we are helping people with one of the biggest financial, transactions of their lives, but we are acting like, the stereotypical salesperson that's always on call, what are we wanting? Because I don't want that. I want to be treated and respected in a way that allows me to still live a great life in my business, but also one that is, in focused and purposeful with my family as well.
Uh, I love that you just said all of that. I've said this on past podcasts that I've done some things over the last about 6 years as far as saying on my voicemail that I'm unavailable from basically like 4 to 6:30 when I'm making
Yeah.
dinner with my family, enjoying things like that. And that was such a game changer. The defining moment for me was I was so terrified to do that. I was actually my real estate coach at the time that suggested I do that. And I was so terrified to do it. And I was like, no, I'm paying for this person to coach me. Surely they know what they're doing. I'm going to listen to them. And I then had a seller of mine actually leave me a voicemail that basically said, I listened to your voicemail. I understand you're unavailable. Just call me back when you can. It's not urgent, right? And it's
Yes.
like we don't help people understand how to treat us, then they're going to just treat us how they would a friend or,
Right.
somebody who, like you said, would be available at all hours. And uh, I have learned over the years, I struggled with this in the beginning, like so many people do, is that there's very few things in real estate that are an actual emergency that like we actually have to deal with in that moment. It does happen every once in a while, negotiating a deal if you're really in the thick of it, some of those things. But the rest of it is like, it really can wait until normal business hours.
Yes. Well, and with that, Mackenzie, what I noticed when I got really great at time blocking my most important activities in the morning, which guess what, real estate agents, your most important activities in the morning are going to be connecting with people, the scary words called lead generation, but you name it what you need it to be. I call it connect with people, deepen relationships, following up on any of those relationships you've started that need to, get some loose ends tied up. But all of that most important morning routine is the generating future business. It's not the working on the business you already got under contract. And so all of that stuff waits till like 11:01 or noon. And whenever you really block it and you hold yourself to it, or have people, if you grow into a team, they can help hold you to it. Because guess what? If you have admin or agents on your team and we're disrupting each other during those most important times, then, if we're not successful, then the admin doesn't get paid. We don't have future business or leads coming in, then nobody is winning. Just trying to like figure out a negotiation for a repair that can happen after lunchtime. And so what I learned though was when I got really good at that time block and I honored it, the issues that came up, and this would be my another one, number one, two, three, four tip is all the dingers get turned off. Like if I'm with you now, like I don't have notifications coming in on my computer or dinging my phone. And so therefore I'm not distracted. And so when I'm doing those most important activities and the emails coming through from the title company, we've got a problem, the co-op agent is, we've got to figure out this repair, they always tend to work themselves out by the time you're done doing your most important activity. Isn't that true?
It's so true. Yes. I'm so thankful. My husband, I have like zero chill, like naturally, like zero chill. My husband is like the chillest person in the entire world, which is probably why we got married and we work very
Yeah.
well together. But he was actually the one that was like, Mackenzie, I swear, if you would just wait 24 hours, it will probably work itself out. And if he is listening, because he does listen to my podcast sometimes, you were right. It usually does work itself out.
Right. That's right. He doesn't need to hear it, but yeah, we can give him some credit with that. And I do think that that is with that and the other lesson from early, momhood and real estate would be the other lesson. I don't know, we can order all these later of what's most important. They're all so important is just getting okay and good at saying no.
Yes.
The reason I say that is because I really struggled with it because I love to volunteer and give back. Those are very important to me and my values, my core values is, community and making an impact. And so when I was younger and building my business, of course, there would be school activities that might need a committee person or a chairperson. And in my heart and in my mind, I'm like, well, that could also be good for business and it warms my heart. But then you'd get there and you'd discover that they're not focused, they're not on purpose. I've got places to be and things to do that are more productive and more on purpose and dollar productive as well. That sometimes we get torn between it is good to do these things and what are the most important things you need to be doing right now. And sometimes saying no, because I just got really good at saying, this is sounds like an amazing opportunity. And as where I am right now in my personal and professional career, I feel that if I said yes to this now, I'd be letting you down later. And I don't want to do that. So come back in a year and let's see if we can work together on that.
Yes. So true. I've also had to learn this, like, because I'm kind of the same way. I'm just kind of a social butterfly. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. I get the opportunity to be around people, do something productive, or a value add to my community, whatever it is. So, yeah, I feel that too. To add to that, I think the other probably kind of secondary, in my opinion, lesson to saying no is also learning to maybe say no to certain clients as well.
There you go.
Oh, I really had to learn that one the hard way, unfortunately, more than once. And sometimes, I'm thinking of one of my agents in particular that was in the process of taking a listing, and she did end up taking it. And before the listing had even started, this person was just sucking up all of her time and energy and really even emotional energy, because this person was not bringing up a positive energy to the transaction. And I said to her, I said, you may get to the point where you may need to fire this person. I said, I can't tell you to do that, right? And you're the only one that can decide what you can tolerate or not tolerate. And within about 2 weeks, she was like, I am going to have to terminate, my relationship with this person. And it's one of those things where um, maybe if she would have said no to that person in the beginning, maybe something else, would have opened up for her that would not have taken away all of that time. So, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
the time and the energy suck. It is real. And I think though, I have agents on my team that have definitely been in that same situation before, and they just needed to know, it sounds like you empowered her as well, is they have permission if they're like, because I think if you're an agent on a team, you may fear that you're letting your team down if you don't get that listing or, get that closing. And we know the reality when you've been on this side as long as we have is that not all people are created equal. And so I would ask the question of my team member, I would just say, how did that first consultation go? Because if you're asking really great questions or you get that little gut of like, ooh, they're kind of jerks. Like, is this going to be the way it's going to always be? This is why I used to always do a two-step listing appointment. To be honest, if I gave myself that option. I had two plans going in if needed, because if I was getting like hairs on the back of my neck, like this doesn't feel right. I don't know how we're going to actually get along. I would just have a nice little exit strategy of, hey, this has been really great, previewing your home, getting to know you better. Of course, I want to help you achieve your goal. And let me get back to the computer. I'm going to really dive in and do some amazing market research just to make sure that we're pricing you correctly to win the market, whatever my exit conversation was. And then I would give myself that time and that space to think and to consider, is this going to be somebody that I want to be in relationship with? Because, we got to a point where we had a little team hashtag called No Jerks Allowed. And if, because, the truth is that us trying to please that client in the moment for X dollars of compensation in the next few months, maybe, but what's the downside? Our time, our energy, the stress that we're pushing then to our family, to our friends. It's eating us up emotionally. And then also, in the end, it could end up being a poor online review. They're not going to refer us anyway because they're jerks. So, is it worth
Yeah,
that dollar
absolutely.
amount? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. I have very rarely been able, if I'm thinking back to maybe some of my most difficult transactions or most difficult clients, I've very rarely been able to like turn that relationship around, right? And a lot of times it's just that we're like not a good fit for each other. It's not even really that like I don't know, they're terrible, horrible people, right? It's just we don't align in either our personalities meshing or whatever it is, and it's like yeah, every time that has happened to me, I'm like, oh, I probably missed out on two or three other things that would have probably brought me way more joy in my life. So yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
That's right. Well, and if we get into, I've become an exactly what to say certified guide with Phil M. Jones, and so he's got this amazing book that is all about curious questions. And so the truth is, if we're asking enough questions, then we get into empathy and relatability with them, that then they trust us. And the truth is that sometimes people pushing back on us isn't that they're jerks necessarily. They just haven't gotten that they can trust us, that we're going to do the job at a high level for them. And so, how do we get that trust? Well, we ask more questions. We get deeper into understanding and relating to them so that they got us. Now, there are just those that we're never going to get to that with, and they can go work with somebody else.
Absolutely. Uh, okay, tell me a little bit. We have about 5-ish minutes left or so. I would love to hear a little bit more about this certification that you got and what
Yeah.
prompted you to do. Because I am in a group with Diana Kokoska called the Inner Circle, and one of the things that they or that maybe I've just kind of gotten by osmosis from being around her and John Maxwell and everything is asking more questions, right? And trying to go, just one level deeper with people, and just learning. A lot of us that are extroverts just need to learn to be quiet and and let other person talk. So tell me a little bit about this. I'm super interested in this.
Yeah, I mean, I of course have taken all the classes and I was a bold graduate 18 times and I know the value of continuing to learn and grow. And I also know that I've learned, like you mentioned, is that when you enter a conversation and you're asking questions, that's allowing the other person to feel very valuable and they feel that they're being heard. And so, the person that's asking all the questions can kind of control the direction of it too. And so I think that where it was valuable for me was the early days of real estate. I was kind of trained and taught to just get in the contacts, get in the contacts. And so to me, it was dialing two-way convo for a few minutes, bye now, and moving on. And so but that wasn't natural for my behavioral style. Mine is more of building relationships and connection and rapport. And so the thing that when Phil Jones was on stage that a couple years ago, he finished with his one of his lines that says, "Stop counting conversations, start making conversations count." And I was like, yes, yes, yes. All of us agents needed to hear that message from someone on the stage that gives us permission to slow down. We don't have to tally, all the numbers in a day, but really even just having 5 real conversations a day. I don't know what your number is. You determine what your number is based on your goals and what you want to achieve, but it doesn't have to be this big, huge crushing the phones all day long. If you are in alignment, alignment is my big word right now in my life. And so I want to be a business that's in alignment with who I am, what I enjoy, and where I want to go. And so that for me became what I'm focused on right now. And that happens through being clear on what I want, but also asking the right questions, but the questions to the right people, if that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is great. I also agree. So I'm a bold graduate. And Diana Kokoska is like one of my favorite people in the
Right.
entire world. And for a little while there, I'm in the process of writing a book, and I share this actually in the book that I'm writing. Uh, I had this moment in 2020 where it was like I absolutely crushed my goal. I exceeded it by far. And I had the worst, I don't believe in the word balance, but we use that term a lot. Like I had the worst work-life balance. I was running myself literally ragged. And it was because I had this imaginary number that I had to hit every single day, every single week, every single month. But there was like not this big purpose behind it other than I have this imaginary number that I have to hit, right? And I actually sat down with the leadership in our office towards the end of the year and said, I had a fantastic year. It was great. I'm so appreciative and I never want to do that again, right?
Yes.
Unfortunately, at that time, it fell on deaf ears. They were kind of like, no, you need to double your goal, and all these things. And I was like, no, I want to, yes, I have big, goals as far as, how much money I would like to make and growing my team and all these things, but I want substance, right? I want deep connections, like you said, with people. And it took me a little while to kind of like find a groove with that because you almost have to kind of like unlearn all of these things that you've learned. But yeah, oh, that's so true. I'm really glad you said that because I've been trying to like kind of focus more on that even with my team members who are a little more established. It's like, yes, the conversations still matter, and yes, we do still have numbers that we have to hit in order to live the life that we want to live. And what are we saying in those conversations, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, and that's it. And so as you've been in this business, the longer you are in this business, you have database of met relationships that they know you, they trust you, they like you. And so I want us to go just deeper rather than wider. And so the deeper part comes from getting very clear on our VIPs. We call them our rock stars. If we see, and you know this is true, year after year, most of your business is coming from your sphere, repeat and referral business, and referrals from those that you already know. How can we just get more of that? They're already teed up. They already have a pretty bow on top. They already trust us by way of their friend or, person that has referred them to us. And so that is where it's the deeper rather than the wider. Getting real, like even for agents on our team, I'm gonna help each individual person build their plan based on their behavioral style and their current life. We have team members who have young kiddos. Well, if you're always at the school, then let's make a plan around when you're at the school. You are growing your database, you're having conversations, you're deepening. Those people get invited to our events, and then, growing our people that way. So that's just something I really focus on.
I'm so glad that you said that. I'm sure I learned some of these things from you and being a part of your Facebook group and all that stuff. But like that is like in total alignment with a lot of the things that I'm trying to help a lot of my team members work on. So that is just so great. Okay, one last question for you. What would be the one piece of advice that you would give someone, mostly because you and I both have teams, if someone is wanting to join a real estate team, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give someone to like maybe help them be successful in a team environment?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is now, I will say, because I'm on the hunt right now for agents to join my team. And so I'm having this conversation quite a bit. And the truth is that, you know, you shouldn't join a team because you just want leads. You should join a team that's going to offer you the opportunity to attract business, of course, and a team that is in alignment with you as far as systems, communication, consistency, and that the value is in alignment with the compensation, right? Now, all teams are different. I mean, you can't compare apples to apples. So you really got to get to know what you're signing up for. I would also say, as a team member, you've got to show up and participate. Like, I can't motivate an unmotivated person. I can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself. And so a lot of times agents may join a team because they're not successful as a solo agent. Well, what are you going to do differently then this time?
Mhm.
Right? Like, I can't hold you accountable if you're not accountable to yourself. And so first I'd say just get good at holding yourself accountable as a solo agent to your schedule, to your self-care, to your family, to your calendar that is intentional and purposeful. Nowadays, there's so many free resources and opportunities out there, whether it's, my YouTube channel and all the things you provide. There's so much availability out there to learn and grow, but you got to get into action with it. We got really clear on our core values, and we found that to be successful on our team, you got to have grit, right? You know that you got to have grit. You got to have gratitude. We start every day with a thankful mind, a growth mindset. You know that you don't know all the things there is to know, that you might have to keep learning and growing. And then you got to be accountable, meaning you're going to show up and do what you said you'd do. And then you've got to get into action. So action oriented, because without it, like, I've had team members that say all the right things, but then they don't do those things. And so it's hard for me as a leader to watch them have intentions but don't do what it takes to achieve them. Then you just wasted a lot of time and energy and opportunity. And that's sad.
Yeah, honestly, that I love all of those. Yeah. Again, I probably learned a lot of these things from you. Like I'm like I feel like I have all of those, right?
Yeah, you do.
It- as somebody who's also, looking to grow my team, like those are the kind of things that like we need to be aligned on, or to be honest, kind of going back to like what we even said to, sellers, like I don't want you to be frustrated and disappointed with your experience on the team because you were not aligned with those things, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I would say that then, as the owner, the leader of the team, you have to follow a real process of hiring and onboarding because if you're a busy rainmaker, a busy leader of a team, you're just running and they can't keep up. There's got to be some slowdown and some training and accountability inside of it. If it's not you, that's okay, but it needs to be somebody because they get in and now we've just let them down.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like I see that a lot in our area in Omaha, right? It's like people join a team and they're like, "Well, I got like no mentorship, no direction. I don't know what I'm doing or anything like that." And it's like, yeah, if we don't have a very clear, at least 90-day training plan to get you into production and help you understand what you should be doing every day, then I think that team owner has failed if they don't do that. So, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. We will put your YouTube channel and your socials in the show notes. Yeah, thank you so much, Jennie. I really appreciate the conversation.
Oh, I had such a good time. Thank you, Mackenzie.
Thank you so much for listening to Roots and Roofs podcast today. If you loved today's episode, please let me know. I love hearing from you on Instagram and Facebook, so feel free to send me a DM or tag me in your stories so I can share it too. If you're looking for more information about today's topic, please visit my website, mahoganyacres.com, and all of the information that is listed in the show notes below. Until next time.